Matthew continues writing at verse 5. Then the devil took him to the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, He will command His angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone." The devil took Jesus to Jerusalem, to the highest point of the temple. He carried Jesus to the place where God the Father was known to dwell, to encourage Jesus to test the Father. The devil then quotes Psalm 91, which is interesting for a variety of reasons, but here's a couple. First, the psalm is about spiritual warfare. So here we have an example of spiritual warfare, the devil tempting Jesus. And the devil quotes this particular psalm. Second, the devil knows Scripture and he quotes Scripture, but he does so in a way perverting its intended meaning. For instance, here he leaves out the next line. The next line at Psalm 91:13 is, "You will tread on the lion and the adder. The young lion and the serpent you will trample underfoot." An adder is a small venomous snake. So apparently the one referred to in Scripture as the serpent did not want to remind Jesus the rest of the story. Continuing at verse 7. Jesus said to him, "Again it is written, you shall put the Lord your God to the test." You shall not put the Lord your God to the test. Jesus quotes Deuteronomy 6:16, which is a reference to the Exodus when the people complained about God's provision of water at Massah. God's people should trust God's provision, not attempt to dictate how He will provide. At verse 8, he continues, "Again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, 'All these I will give you if you will fall down and worship me.'" Again, the elevation changes. They started in the wilderness, and then they moved to Jerusalem at a high point in the temple. Now they move to a very high mountain. They move to the place where only God should exist. This is the pinnacle. This is the climax. The final temptation would have Jesus abandon his sonship, rebel against the Father, and worship the devil. In return, the devil promises Jesus would have the earth and all the earth's glory. Now, Jesus lived in heavenly glory before coming to earth. He created the world. He's the source of glory. He knows that the earth is not glorious at all compared to heaven. So this seems like a ridiculous attempt to tempt Jesus. And further, I wonder, without offering any answers, what would happen to the universe if the Holy Trinity were divided? I mean, Jesus is the glue that holds everything together. It's Colossians 1:17. But continuing at verse 10, "Then Jesus said to him, 'Begone, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve.'" Jesus is quoting Deuteronomy 6:13. As ridiculous as the final temptation seems in the context of Jesus' sonship, we are particularly susceptible to this very temptation. I mean, how often and in how many ways do we exchange God's promises of heavenly glory for the world and its lies? We're so tempted by it that Jesus asked at Matthew 16:26, "For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what shall a man give in return for his soul?"